Up until this case, traditional owners haven't been recognised as relevant people beyond the native title line, which is only 5 to 6 kilometres off the coastline, which makes us null and void when it comes to the deep sea country, which we have cultural and spiritual connections to, and that we've had since the beginning of time. So our cultural heritage and our spiritual and cultural way of being is finally being recognised by the federal judge.
So, how concerning is this project?
It's extremely concerning. The ocean off the coast of the Tiwi Islands has been used and accessed by our people since the beginning of time. We have our cultural and spiritual connections to that place. It's the same as the way people pray to God. We can't see God, but we know that He's there and we believe in Him. It's the same with us for our spiritual connection to any type of sea country, whether it's out in the deep water or on the land. They're all the same. So if I disconnected all of the Christians from their God, how would they feel? What belief system would they use? How would they structure their value systems and the principles with the way they live in reciprocity with the land and with the people?
And what's the message that you want to give to Santos who claim that they've spoken to Aboriginal people on that?
We're the cultural giants in this. We are the first people. We've never ceded our sovereignty, ever. And I want people to stop calling these people giants. They're not giants. They're destroying the earth. We are the cultural giants. We're the original people from this land. And we need to be taken seriously. Yeah. You can't just come in. We want them to know this is not just a trend that's going to fizzle out in a few months after this court case. We're going to keep going. And people around the country and around the world, Indigenous people who are being impacted by their dirty gas, are going to be fought and stopped at every possible angle. We're just standing here together to say, hey, we have just been recognised as relevant people when it comes to deep sea country, regardless of the boundaries that have been placed there by government so that they can control everything in Commonwealth waters. It's not going to happen anymore.
How does it feel hearing the Minister this morning was talking about opening Resources Week and talking about how important the Barossa project is to the future of the Northern Territory economically and that development, that she's so supportive of that project?
I think she needs to take another look at how we should transform where they're focusing and start looking at renewable energy. It's bad business. Why would you keep doing something that's upsetting the environment, upsetting the people, upsetting everybody, and just go down the path that everybody, the scientists around the world, are saying, renewable energy, go green. Mm-hmm. It's bad business.
Looking at the substantials of the case, Santos has claimed that they've been consulting with Tiwi since 2016. What is the extent of that consultation been?
Santos have not done consultation. ConocoPhillips did. Santos have never come to the Tiwi Islands. I think they came twice, and it wasn't even about the drilling in Pete. It was about the pipeline and the master plans.
There was some reference to unanswered emails.
Unanswered emails. If I was going to come off the coast of Darwin here and build a massive gas plant that was going to produce gas over the next 25 to 30 years, would it be appropriate for them to send 2 emails with no reply and then get approval to go and start doing it? No.
So what will be the next steps after this week? What are the sort of plans that you have?
We'll find another way to sue them again.
And so the aim is to stop the project completely?
Absolutely. This is not just about the drilling. This is about the entire plan. Not just here, off the coast of WA and all the stuff that they're trying to do now. They're starting seismic testing off Bamagal and the Torres Strait Islanders. We are so organised that we have now got funding to be able to go and support them to stop the approvals right now, or make sure that NOPSEMA aren't just saying, yep, go for it. without consulting with the traditional owners, without getting feedback about the cultural and spiritual impacts that it's going to have on them, because they live the same as we do on the Tiwi Islands. They rely 100% on the environment around them.
As someone who's been watching the court proceedings, how have you found not seeing this cross-examination of students and Santos?
They haven't. They've been silent. The people that we're here to address have been silent in this whole case.
Thank you. Antonia, can I get spelling of this last name? Is it B-O-B-U-R-K?
I don't expect you to recognise me in the territory. In my home state, Mr. Intercox, Green Senator, Australian Green Senator for Western Australia, spokesperson for resources, science, trade and tourism.
Alright, so you're obviously offering your support.
Absolutely. I was invited by the Manuki clan and the people to stand beside them in solidarity against this gas project, and more importantly to make sure that free, prior and informed consent is being enacted, particularly when we are talking about gas projects in the offshore waters of Australia.
How important is taking a stand like this for future projects?
Absolutely important. This is a landmark case, one that we've heard evidence provided on country from and delivered to the federal court by these people standing right here behind me, and it's so important to hear their voices, and not just hear their voices but hear their message, and their message was delivered in song, in ceremony, in dance, in artwork, which is extremely powerful. And I spoke directly to the federal court judge about the importance of that and hearing their message and the importance of that connectivity to spirit, which you just heard from Antonia Burke, that the federal court processes, the legal processes in this country need to hear those messages from traditional owners. This is about enacting their human rights and free, prior informed consent for projects such as this. And we cannot see industry collude with governments to make sure that their voices are silenced, and particularly here in the Northern Territory.
How disappointing is it to hear about a Labor Northern Territory government being so supportive of a major project like this, and obviously plans on the border for a country gas industry?
Absolutely disappointing. In NT Resources Week, I see the Resources Minister get up and talk about making sure that industry continues. We have a 43% target in the climate bill, and I sit in the Senate. So it will appear 5th of September on the notice paper, and our party will be backing that in because we see that as a floor, not as a ceiling. And we are going to make sure that we push Labor to understand what the mathematics is behind that. They cannot keep opening up the Barossa, the Beetaloo, Middle Arm, and all of these other projects, Scarborough in my home state of Western Australia. These are polluting climate bombs. They will destroy not just the climate, but also the livelihood, the well-being of the Tiwi people that they are basically creating that impact for. And Santos, an organisation, a business that announced their record profit last week of 300%. This is not about money, this is about power. And they are exerting their power alongside the government and in particular the Resources Minister to do this, and to do this to the most marginalised people in this country, and it's disgusting.
There's some reference to this not being the end of the case. Is this something that we're going to see replicated across the country, these challenges and other gas companies?
Absolutely. There are 114 coal and gas projects currently in the approvals pipeline. Now I am waiting on this Albanese government and the new government to look at each one of those projects and absolutely go back through the due diligence, and not just to for NOPSEMA, but also through the environmental approvals, and make sure that the traditional owners' voices are being heard. What I hear from the Prime Minister is him talk about good manners to ask First Nations people in this country to have a voice. How about these people standing behind me having their voice heard? How about the people of Narrabri? How about the people of the Beetaloo? And how about the people of Scarborough, who are fighting for their country, for their sea country in particular? And it's a constant threat for me to have to continue walking in solidarity with these people, with my people, to make sure that we are fighting for country. Our spirituality, our connection to country, our livelihoods depend on this. We cannot continue to ignore those voices of the people that are saying, we do not provide our consent to these projects, and the big wad of cash in the suitcase that comes rolling in on a helicopter here into the territory is buying that. And it's buying the state capture of the governments of both the states and territories and the federal governments of this nation, and it has to stop.
People, not dollars.
Given that the actual case is against NOPSEMA, is there any legislation in your works that should strengthen the gas regulator?
Absolutely. What I want to see is the independent regulator do their job. And I've questioned NOPSEMA on 2 occasions in relation to their definition of what relevant person means in the legislation, and making sure that their consultative processes are sound. So it's been work that I've been undertaking in my first term as the casual vacancy for Western Australia, and being re-elected in this, I will continue to work to strengthen those laws. That is my job as a federal senator, and I take that very, very seriously, and making sure that we're not just talking to fishing operators or tour operators or industry on this. We are talking to traditional owners and the impact that that has for them as First Nations people, as the first people of this country. And the laws should reflect that. They should make sure that the consultation process doesn't end with 2 emails and an unanswered phone call. That is not consultation. That is manufactured consent. And what we should be doing is ensuring, as legislators and as leaders, political leaders in this country, making sure that we tighten those laws and strengthen them to make sure that it is not going to end up here in a federal court case. It is the waste of resources where people should have done their job. NOPSEMA and Santos should have done their job and come out to the Tiwi Islands and speak to the traditional owners about the impact of this project.
How much feedback have you got on that NOPSEMA, on the pushes against NOPSEMA and the pushes to strengthen the regulator?
Look, the regulator are happy with that. Unfortunately, this is the way that we've been living for the past decade under a previous government. I hope that Labor want to stand on the right side of history, and they want to change those laws. They want to see that the independent regulator who has statutory authority to oversee the consultation processes in this country undertake this seriously, and NOPSEMA need to be tasked with a strong law to be able to enact that.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks.
Say no to Barossa!
Just want to thank everyone for coming today, eh? I hope you all understand what's going on upstairs.
More of the thing, it'll be good.
We have a federal court judge, we have our barrister having this rigorous debate about a clause in the OPGGS Act as to whether these people are relevant and as to whether they should be consulted or not. It's a gross misuse of our laws. I hope that you all stand by us to stop this Barossa gas project. I hope you all know it's the dirtiest offshore gas project in Australia by double of any other gas project. So, yeah. Thanks, ladies, for coming over from the Tiwis, and we'll do everything we can to support you and your culture.
Thank you.
I think it's important to say in this entire process, the Environment Centre of the Northern Territory have been the one to consult Tiwi people, particularly the Manupi people. It was only by chance that we found out that this was happening, and it happened last year at the Strong Women for Healthy Country Forum, which was hosted by the Bunajal women down in Katherine on Jarwin country. And there were 260 Indigenous women from across the Northern Territory who came there, and thank goodness there was a woman there who worked with the Environment Centre, and she said to me, "You're from the Tiwi Islands, have you heard about Barossa?" And I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And she said, "You need to contact the Environment Centre." So I did, and then I got the entire plan that they had been working on since the 1990s. This has been going on. They first started seismic testing and collecting data out there in the late 1990s. In 2004, all of this started to ramp up. But why did we only find out last year? And we're the community that are closest to where they're going to drill. And it's going to be, they want to put it there for the next 25 years. So, exactly. And so the Environment Centre have been the ones to raise funds and rally and inform and consult Manupi people and all of the traditional owners. And they've done it in 5 months. It took us 5 months to get from, right, we need to do something, we need to tell everybody and give everybody all of the information. And it's not biased information, it's transparent, it's all of the information. And now we're here and everybody knows what's going on. All the Manupi people now know what's going on. The Environmental Defenders Office came on and they have consulted us in a way that no one has, second to the ECNT. So why is it that these grassroots organisations who don't have any money, right, they rely on the generosity of philanthropists to support us, people from America are supporting this. We then fly the judge and 21 people from around the country over to Manupi country. On Monday, there was 3 of us that organised it. It took us less than a month. Santos wouldn't even jump on the plane that we booked for them, so they decided to come in on a massive helicopter, right? They threw it in our face and like, here, look at us, look what we can do in 2 weeks. They only booked their helicopter 2 days before. So if they wanted to come and consult us, COVID or all the other bullshit excuses that they have, couldn't have stopped them. If they really wanted to consult so that they could, NOPSEMA could tick that box and say, yes, meaningful consultation happened, they could have done it. They proved to us they could have done it. They just don't care. That's it. So I want to say a massive thank you to the Environment Centre team. Kirsty, you've been amazing. He's the centrepiece. He knows more about this entire project than anybody else on the planet. He knows all the pieces of the puzzle. So if you want the real story, please go to him. We'll back you all the way. Thank you so much for supporting us.
I'll back you guys too.
Naish, thank you. Naish is working with the Environment Centre as well. We have other people on board. Our lawyers from the Environmental Defenders Office have worked tirelessly on this from the moment we met them back in April. I think they get 2 to 3 hours sleep a night. They're in this for the right reasons. And they're up there today fighting so hard for us. So we just want to say thank you. We can't do this without all of you Please go onto all of our social media sites, share the heck out of it. When you see our petitions popping up, please just all you do is click on it and put your name in there and your email address. That all counts. So, and thank you to all the people who travelled over to the Tiwi Islands on Monday to come and sit with us while we showed that we fed the judge some bush tucker. We went out hunting for him, and we fed Santos too, right? Because they're human beings, they're just doing a job. We wanted to show them what it was like to eat our traditional foods, and yeah, just thank you so much to everybody who's supporting us. And my sister here, Dorinda Cox, Senator Cox from the Greens, is the only politician who has been supporting this campaign.
I come from Tiwi Island, and I see how we've been mismanaging our community. And our community means that we all come together as one. But it never happens, because when you see people like that who think they can come to our community and sugarcoat our people, that is the thing that we need to realize and teach our people, that we can be self-sufficient. We can look after our land. We've been doing that for 50,000 years before white settlement came to Australia. And now we need to get up and say, we can do it. There's no such thing as we can't, because you know why? I am a Tiwi woman. I'm a sister girl. I come from my community, Wurumiyanga. And I believe that, we can make a change. And, a lot of people don't believe in that. The power of the people can do it. So, our community...
So in 2 weeks' time, right, we're going down to Canberra, Antonio, myself and Pirawangi, the Mayor of the Tiwi Islands. We're marching into federal parliament, we're meeting ministers, we're demanding change on this issue. Because I do believe that Canberra has no idea what's happening in the Northern Territory. They have no idea how bad the Barossa gas project is. All they see is the dollars and export income coming into this country. So very soon they'll realise the full force of Tiwi culture, because it'll be banging on their front door.
Go Tiwi!
And our Northern Territory politicians aren't hosting us in Canberra. The only person that said yes was our sister Dorinda Cox. They wouldn't even support us to get access to Parliament House by sending us some paperwork to say, yes, we will support you while you're here, just so we can get into Parliament to have the meetings that we need to have.
Because they're too scared to step out of the party lines. Well, not all of them, but
Not all of them.
there is some good ones.
No Greens in the NT. Get a Green in the Legislative Assembly.
Yeah. What can we
Time to
do
change
now?
that.
What can we do?
What can I do, Jason?
You need to support the Stop Barossa Gas campaign wherever you possibly can.
Yeah.
We need to make our voices heard.
Yeah.
This is an ongoing action. It's not stopping just yet. To stop a gas project takes many years, many years. It's a long battle. But unfortunately for Santos, who claim to be an oil and gas giant, they've just met a cultural giant, which is the Tiwi people. The big fight.
People power comes in play when everybody puts their voice. I can tell you now, when my inbox gets blown up from a do-gooder letter from every person in my electorate saying, stop Barossa gas, stop Scarborough gas, it means that I have to sit up and listen. And my staff have to sit up and listen. Call your local MP, send an email, go and campaign out front of their office, put up a sign, whatever you need to do, make sure that you use your democratic power and your people power in this movement to stop this gas project.
Yeah. There's also the Territory Labor Conference coming up in a couple of weeks' time, beginning of September, which will be debating the Territory's policies, particularly on gas subsidies and the Barossa projects.
I don't think we have to tell people how much Santos, Woodside and other big industry players provide donations to the Labor and the Liberal Party. Now, if you want to stop that, the federal ICAC bill is where you stop that. We have a federal integrity body with teeth that make sure that those donations are capped at 1,000, not hundreds of thousands that fuel their political campaigns during election time. That allows them to have their flash dinners and their harbour cruises that woo their politicians and influence politics, and that's what state capture is. They have been captured by the coal and gas industry in this country, and we have to stop it because we are
answer your question in another way. To mitigate the risks, if they've already started drilling, right? They've already started. They started a few weeks ago. We know that there's already been damage. We know that. If anyone's interested in learning more about what happens when they start drilling, call Jason Fowler. He'll tell you the science behind it and all the chemicals that are released when they start those machines drilling, right? One of the things that we've done to mitigate the risk of any damage that could happen is we're starting up the first ever Tiwi Women's Ranger program. It's called Mamanakui Rangers. And my sister here, Jen Charlena, she's going to be one of our first rangers. They've just finished doing, They've just finished doing their first lot of getting ready for work training through our one of our local organisations called TITEB. And we are looking for funding, ethical funding. We're about to build our rule book and become registered with ORIC. And we're about to have our first gathering of Indigenous women who are already operating women's ranger programs out in Kakadu and down on Jarwin country. They're going to come and help us develop our service delivery model, and then we're ready to work. So we're going to start collecting data that can show the impacts of what will happen if they keep drilling, and how it'll impact the turtle migration paths, how it will reduce the amount of fish and seafood that we have to eat, how all the other environmental impacts that it'll have. So we'll have real-time data. And the reason we're doing that is because a lot of cultural protocol can sort of be tricky when men and women are working together on country, because our culture is so strong and there's limitations on how men and women can work together sometimes. But also we just believe in girl power, so we want to do it our way. And the other reason we're doing it is because most other ranger programs across the Northern Territory operate through land councils. We want to change our direction and become independent. So the women on the Tiwi Islands have said to me, don't go under any other organisation. We want you to set us up as an independent body. We want to be able to make decisions for ourselves, and we will only take ethical funding. So if anyone's got some money to share with us, please donate. We will be setting up a charity.
When you were saying self-determination for the ladies, what about education programs for the schools and teaching our community members?
Yes.
Because, we need to educate our elders, because they don't know about these things, because most of the people who know all this information should be doing it in our communities, because our elders and our people don't know these things, because, sometimes, like in Indigenous community, our Indigenous people are illiterate. They don't know how to read and write. They only see what we talk to face. And these things that we need to put in place for our people to understand that, we can make a change. But the difference is that, some people who are part of the community, who have different points of views of things, but we need to educate our people from the inside and the outside. And, we need to start doing it.
Yes. That's what we're doing.
Education is one of those programs that women can do for our communities.
Yes.
You're dead right there. Angela's come along. They say we're going to do a drilling program. They use really high English. A lot of people have no idea what that means. I'm a scientist. My job is to translate that into everyday language. And I can tell you right now, to drill a hole out of their production well takes 3 months. It goes 4 kilometres deep into the sea floor, and it's about that round. And it takes about 8,000 cubic metres of drilling muds, which are laced with chemicals, to drill that hole. A lot of those chemicals blow straight into the ocean. Then to firm the well up, they have to pump a lot of concrete down there and seal the sides of the well. All the excess concrete, cement slurry gets dumped on the sea floor. All the cuttings from the wells get dumped on the sea floor. You're talking about a plume of sediment and chemicals and rubbish going off into the ocean. Now up there we have the Oceanic Shoals Marine Park, an incredibly important part of Northern Australia. Huge area of reefs. Those reefs have most of our corals and fish species that spawn and they fertilise the reefs way down the coast, all the way down into the Kimberley in Western Australia. So what you're doing is you're setting up a giant pollution factory right next to our most important reefs. And if there is one gas or condensate spill, condensate is deadly for coral spawn and sponge spawn. So if all the animals are spawning and you have a spill, even if it's not a very big one, you've wiped out that whole year's worth of recruitment and you're completely undermining the primary productivity of those reef systems. Our most valuable and important tropical snapper fishery exists right there. It's called the Timor Reef Fishery, offshore snapper fishery. All those tropical snappers you see in supermarkets around Australia come from that fishery. Vital seafood source for Australian people. And yet here we are, Santos is trying to build a polluting gas project in the middle, in the guts of that fishery. Is that a smart idea? No. I don't think so. So what we're doing here is we're setting up pollution for the next 20 years. This debate up here is about the first 8 wells. They need to drill 25 wells just for Barossa alone. Then they're going to drill Caldita Field, which is even closer to the Tiwis. Then they want to drill Evans Shoals Field, which is even dirtier than Barossa. It's almost 30% carbon dioxide. Pure stupidity to bring all that carbon up into the air. Then they want to drill the Sunrise Field, which is the biggest mother lode of the whole lot. And that actually belongs to the East Timorese. But right now, they're arguing with the East Timorese government to bring it into Darwin so we can make all the money out of it. Is that fair? Is it fair on the East Timorese? It's all theft. So what you're seeing here, this debate today is the tip of the iceberg. It literally is. If Santos get the go-ahead in Barossa and they develop this field, we're in for an almighty fight. Because this is an entire new gas basin. It's called the Bonaparte Basin. Right now it is undeveloped and it's untapped. But if they get the go-ahead and they charge forward, the whole thing will be dug up. And you're talking about massive amounts of carbon bombs going off. Numerous carbon bombs, not just one. And a hope for a safe climate in the future rapidly diminishes if they get away with this. Yeah. So it's something we have to fight tooth and nail right now, right here, and not stop for the years to come.
The drilling is right, it's literally kilometres away from one of the most important global marine megafauna wildlife corridors in the Indo-Pacific, where we get migration of pygmy blue whales, some of the most endangered species on Earth, fin whales, sei whales.
That should be protected within the Oceanic Shoals Marine Park. That was the idea, was to protect this amazing ecosystem.
And what are Santos doing?
They've got approval to lay a pipeline through our marine park.
And they are drilling day and night. They've refused to put observers on their boats to actually look out for marine mammals. They've also refused to reduce the speed limits or have any speed limits so they won't actually hit any whales or dolphins or turtles, all because they say it will cost too much.
The worst part of this story is that none of this is for domestic gas supply. This gas will not come here for the Territory people. It will not reduce the cost of living in the Territory. What you do to turn on gas, or in the rest of Australia. This all gets exported overseas. And the worst part is Santos have not paid income tax since 2017. They get this gas for free. I don't know who in this country can go and organise a cafe or a restaurant, get all their food for free and sell it off for profit. But this is what these mob are doing. They don't pay tax in this country. We want the 17 billion that we're owed to go into our economy to build more houses, to put dental and mental health into Medicare to help people. So move on. Move on from what's happening. Globally, this is not the way we should be moving. The Torres Strait Islands have told the Prime Minister that about climate change. It's happening on the Tiwi Islands. When I visited there the other day, these industry people in the resources sector need to be made accountable and they need to pay their tax.
There's one question that really gets to me is, every time our Tiwi people fight for our rights, our Tiwi people get knocked down. And it's for the women and the men and the children who live back at Tiwi Island, they don't understand what this is going through and affects our people. And what the main thing is that they're making money out of our people, and yet our people, they say give us royalties and all. What's that going to happen? It's going to mess up our community and also the environment that we go hunting. They give us land rights, but they don't give us sea rights. What sea rights? The sea rights and the land are still connected. It's connected by bond, by spirituality, and also our community and our culture. It represents our people. That these people, they strip our people of their rights. Because people who are educated in Tiwi Land Council or any land council, they know the system. But the system is it good for our people? No. They're making the choices for us. But really, we need the whole community to come together and to make their own choice a better choice. It's for our people. Because our people are suffering. You think money going to buy happiness? No, I don't think so. Money not going to buy the damage was going to be done to our land. Because why? We're looking at this, it may be 40, maybe 30 years down the track. It's going to be all polluted. Where we going to go hunting? We might come to Larrikay country, but at the end of the day, money is not going to buy happiness. Because our people need to realize that we need to fight this. Because guess what? It'll take an arm and a spear to get where we are. Because it's really hard. Because especially us black people, us indigenous people are suffering because why? We don't know the laws. We need to educate our people about these things. And it's about getting together as people as one. People don't realize we live on the land. We get our bush food from our land. And that's our community, our culture, our people. Because they strip the land rights and they strip the sea rights from us. The sea connects with the land and the land connects with the people. And we need to realize that we need to find a common ground to stop these things.
I forgot to say, this is my mum's sister, and she has been our community consultant through this whole process, and giving the power, governance and control to local people who live in community to do the consultation is the way to go. And Mum Trees has been the most instrumental person in supporting us to do this so that we didn't have to be on the Tiwi Islands every single day. She has been our eyes, ears, our entire communication and logistics strategy has happened through Mum. So I just want to say thank you. She's on the Tiwi Island Regional Council and has been a health worker for 25 years, as a teacher, and if you need to communicate with Tiwi people in any way, please find local people like Mum Trees, because they're there and they're ready and they're willing to support whenever anybody needs to consult with our families. We just want to say a massive thank you to every single person who's come out today and supported us. We've got one more person who wants to say something. Yep.
Before we finish up, I'd like to say that as they are drilling on the ocean bed, they are drilling the spirits of every Tiwi, past and present. Wow. Because we have connections with the ocean, we have song lines that are connected. With all the animals in the ocean, we have stories. So they are drilling our spirits, sadly. So we need to stop this. So we need your support.